Dr. Kira Thessalon had spent 30 years studying archaeological linguistics for the Galactic Historical Preservation Society. She'd deciphered dead languages from 17 extinct civilizations, uncovered trade routes that predated faster-than-light travel, and authored the definitive text on pre-contact cultural development. None of it prepared her for what she found in the ruins of Krosthor Prime. The planet had been dead for 12,000 years, long before humanity discovered fire, let alone space travel. The Krosthori had been a thriving empire of scholars and philosophers, spanning 14 star systems at their peak. Then, according to conventional historical records, they'd simply vanished. Civil war, most historians assumed. Resource collapse. The usual culprits. But Kira had found their last archives, buried 3 kilometers beneath the irradiated surface. And the final entries told a very different story. Commander Velshak, she transmitted to the expedition ship. You need to see this. The Valorian commander materialized in the excavation site via hologram, his scales reflecting concern. Dr. Thessalon? Your vital signs are elevated. Are you? Read this. She projected the translated text onto her tablet. The commander's eyes widened as he processed the ancient Krosthori script. Final entry of Archive Master Thelvok. If anyone finds this, know that we brought this upon ourselves. We woke the sleepers of the third planet. We thought them primitive. We thought them weak. We were wrong. Do not repeat our mistake. The Death World remembers. The Death World avenges. Never wake Earth. Velshak's hologram flickered. Earth? That's impossible. 12,000 years ago, humans were barely Stone Age hunter-gatherers, Kira finished. I know. That's what makes this terrifying. Over the next 6 weeks, Kira's team uncovered more military logs, scientific reports, tactical assessments. Each one painting the same horrifying picture. The Krosthori had discovered Earth during a survey mission. They'd observed humans, primitive, tool-using mammals with no technology, no space travel, no apparent threat. But they'd also noticed something else. Earth's biosphere was a death trap of hostile organisms, extreme weather, and aggressive megafauna. The humans surviving there fascinated them. So they took specimens. Just a few dozen, for study. Standard procedure for pre-contact species evaluation. That was their first mistake. The military logs told what happened next. The humans didn't despair in captivity. They didn't break. They watched. They learned. They adapted. Within 2 months, they'd figured out how to open their containment cells. Within 3, they'd accessed the ship's computer systems using nothing but observation and pattern recognition. Within 4 months, they'd taken control of the vessel. Impossible, Velshak had said when Kira showed him the records. Pre-industrial beings couldn't possibly. They didn't need to understand the technology, Kira explained. They just needed to understand behavior. The Krosthori were peaceful scholars. They'd never encountered hostile intelligence. The humans? They'd spent their entire existence fighting for survival against their own planet. The records showed the humans hadn't killed the Krosthori immediately. They'd kept them alive long enough to learn their language. To understand their navigation systems. To find their homeworld. Then they'd taken the ship there. What followed was documented in increasingly desperate military communiques. The Krosthori had tried to fight, but they were philosophers and artists, not warriors. They'd lived in peace for 3,000 years. They'd forgotten how to make war. The humans hadn't. Armed with stolen weapons they barely understood but used with terrifying effectiveness, the humans had struck at military installations, infrastructure, resource depots. Not random attacks, calculated strikes that showed tactical sophistication that shouldn't exist in pre-technological beings. The final entry was from Emperor Krothval himself. We sought to study primitive mammals. We learned too late that there are no primitive species on death worlds, only survivors. The humans do not fight with honor or mercy. They fight like their planet taught them, with cunning, persistence, and absolute refusal to submit. We offered peace. They demanded their people back and our oath never to touch their world again. We agreed. They left. But the fear remains. Future generations, hear me, never wake Earth. Never threaten them. Never take what is theirs. The death world breeds something we cannot comprehend. Leave them alone. Kira looked up from the final translation. Commander, this happened 12,000 years ago. The Krasthori returned those humans to Earth and left them alone. But the trauma broke their civilization. Within a generation, they'd retreated from exploration entirely. Within 5, their empire had collapsed. Broken by guilt? Velshak asked. By fear, Kira corrected. Fear of what they'd awakened. 3 months later, Kira stood before the Galactic Historical Council, presenting her findings. The chamber, filled with representatives from 200 species, sat in stunned silence. Are there other records? Someone finally asked. Other civilizations that encountered Earth? Kira pulled up her comprehensive research. 7 dead civilizations, spanning 20,000 years of galactic history. All made contact with Earth during humanity's pre-technological era. All share the same final warnings. She displayed them side by side. Never wake the sleepers of the blue world. The third planet breeds demons in flesh. Leave the death world undisturbed. They do not forgive. They do not forget. Do not take from Earth. Earth will take everything back. Every single civilization that antagonized pre-contact Earth, Kira continued, collapsed within 1,000 years. Not from human invasion, the humans always left once they recovered their people. They collapsed from internal trauma. From knowing what they'd awakened. From the fear of what would happen if Earth ever developed space travel. The chamber remained silent. Finally, the council chairwoman spoke. Dr. Thessalon, humanity has been part of the galactic community for 50 years now. They've been peaceful, cooperative, even friendly. How do we reconcile that with these warnings? Kira thought about her human colleagues, Dr. Chen, who brought cookies to lab meetings. Commander Jackson, who told terrible jokes. Ambassador Williams, who cried at diplomatic functions honoring fallen soldiers from any species. I think, she said slowly, that humanity is only terrifying when you threaten them first. The Krasthori took their people. Every other dead civilization did the same, enslaved them, experimented on them, treated them as lesser beings. And humanity responded the only way their planet taught them to respond, with overwhelming force until the threat was eliminated. She pulled up an image of Earth, blue and green and beautiful from orbit, but she knew what lurked beneath. The predators. The diseases. The weather extremes. The geological violence. A planet that tried to kill its inhabitants daily. The message isn't never wake Earth, Kira concluded. The message is never give Earth a reason to wake up angry. And every civilization that forgot that message is now dust. The council voted unanimously to classify the findings and add a single line to humanity's diplomatic file. Treat with respect. Never threaten. Never take what is theirs. The death world remembers. And somewhere on Earth, completely unaware of the archaeological discovery, humans continued their daily lives, going to work, raising families, dreaming of the stars. Still primitive in so many ways. Still dangerous in all the ones that mattered.